What is up, guys? James Carter TV, and we're going to take a little bit of a break from the NFL draft. We're going to talk about the NBA draft. I'm beginning my scouting reports, and we are going to start with Brandon Ingram, the shooting guard slash small forward out of Duke. And I have to apologize to Brandon Ingram and all of the Brandon Ingram slash Duke fans out there. About in January or February, I made a video that I am now going to delete right after this video. And in this video, I said that people are nuts when they were talking about Brandon Ingram being better than Ben Simmons. At the time, Brandon Ingram was going through a little bit of a cold streak, and I really wasn't seeing much from him. I hadn't really gone deep into the tape and the film yet, and I thought that while he could be very good, he wasn't as good as Ben Simmons. But today I am declaring that I like Brandon Ingram more than Ben Simmons. And this is something that is a very big risk to say. Some people are saying it, some people have been saying it, and to them I give props. I think they're both going to be very good. I think they're both probably going to be great even. But I just like the odds of one being better than the other, and that person is Brandon Ingram. Right after this video, I will upload my Ben Simmons scouting report so you can see those two juxtaposed against one another, and you'll really understand why I like Brandon Ingram more. But with that said, I think we're talking about two guys that will be top 15 players in the NBA. One guy I'm more sure will be a top 10 guy, maybe even a top 5 guy. But man, this is a very fun conversation we're having, so let's go ahead and have it started with Brandon Ingram. So, we're going to talk about his strengths, his weaknesses. I'll give you a 5-year projection in terms of what he will look like statistically 5 years from this moment, depending on his team situation and whatnot. I'll give you my pro comparison for the player, some best fitting teams, and my overall grade for the prospect Brandon Ingram. Now, if you heard me start off this video, I said shooting guard slash small forward. That's what he is. He can play shooting guard. I don't care that he's 6'9". You're going to hear a lot of people saying, well, you can't put him at 2. He's 6'9". And I'm going to tell you who cares. Because even though he's 6'9", he's very fluid for that height. He's very mobile for that height. And hell, I think he may even be better at the 2. Let's start with his strengths, though. So, number one is his elite shooting ability, his offensive prowess at the moment. 41% three-point percentage. Absolutely fantastic for the collegiate level. And you're talking about him being 18 years old. That number is probably, it could even improve from there. So 41% three-point shooting, and even his ability to they ran a lot of ISO, a lot of isolation plays at Duke. In his ability to create a shot, to be a shot creator at this point in his career, being able to create separation, pull up for a mid-range jump shot. His mid-range jumper is pretty good right now, pretty well refined right now. A guy that can hit shots from anywhere on the court, even has some finishing ability, although I do believe that's something that he needs to fix on. Just an overall sound shooting offensive guy right now is Brandon Ingram, a guy that gives you so much offensively, and that is his main strength, his go-to, and that's a damn good strength to have, by the way, because we consider James Harden to be a top 5 NBA player, right? And that's all he does. He's not a great defender. In fact, he's a horrible defender. He's an okay rebounder, an okay passer. But because he's such a good shooter, such a good guy in terms of finishing at the rim, being a guy that puts up 27, 28 points per game, that's why he's a top 5 prospect. So really, this is the biggest thing, and he has it. Let's move on to the next thing. His length. Again, we talked about him being 6'9", and not only that, this guy has some long alien arms. 7'3" wingspan, a longer wingspan than his counterpart Ben Simmons has, and it's not even close. This is a wingspan that helps him so much in terms of defensively. He relies on his length, sometimes a little bit too much, but it hurts other teams and other players' ability to go past him because his arms are always reaching, stopping players from going past past him. In terms of getting blocks, the length comes in such handy there. Just putting his hands up. The guy's already 9 feet tall. Whenever his hands up, I mean, good luck getting past that on a consistent basis. Driving to him, he always knows to put his hands up. Just keep them up. He had so much potential in terms of getting blocks there, steals there, reaching and reaching and reaching. Great length, and so much can come from that. We move on. He has a good feel for the game. Mike Krzyzewski taught this kid well. He's a good passer. Only averaged 2 assists per game. I think he could average more in a system where he has more playmakers around him. Probably 3 or 4, which is good from the shooting guard position if that's where he actually gets his mainstay at. A guy that knows where to be in terms of, okay, I don't have the ball right now. Let me move around, get some spacing, get open, get off of screens, move and get myself in advantageous positions in transition. Knows how to pass well in transition. Knows how to find open guys. Knows how to finish. Great feel for the game right now. Has some turnovers that he could fix. But in terms of just overall feel for the game, it's very good for his level. And finally, his intangibles. This is a guy that showed up in big games for Duke until about January when he hit that cold streak. But then once again, when March started up again in their March Madness tournament, he showed up in their games, in their March Madness games, tournament games. Showed up in clutch moments. He clutch shots. He's a guy that knows how to work hard. Guy that just offers so much intangibly. Can be a leader for your basketball team. A little soft-spoken, yes, but I was able to see him really rally his teammates from time to time. So I love that aspect of his game. Let's move on to his weaknesses. His strength is absolutely poor, and I don't think it's ever going to be good. Everyone's going to say he needs to add weight, and you're damn right. But I think he's just an ectomorph, guys. That's just what he is. I remember we were having this same conversation with Kevin Durant. Now, Kevin Durant has put on some weight, but he's still skinny. We were having this same conversation with Tayshaun Prince. Tayshaun Prince did put on some weight, but he's still skinny. We were having this same conversation with Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett put on some weight, but he's still skinny. There are guys that are just skinny guys. That's who they're going to be. That's who they are. That's who they're always going to be. But the good thing is, considering the fact that, again, I think he can play the 2, that's where you should put him, you can avoid some of the issues that can come here. Especially when you can also consider the fact that this game is becoming more and more of an outside shooting game. Rarely do you find small forwards that post you up. The only one is LeBron James. That's literally the only small forward that'll post you up. Maybe Kawhi Leonard from time to time. But you have guys that are 6'8" like Nicholas Batum that would rather take outside shots. Draymond Green, who doesn't really play the small forward position that often, who isn't that physical, so I think he can get away with having this poor strength. It'll hurt from time to time. From time to time, he will be back down. You cannot put him at the 4, not even for a minute, because that's where he's going to get screwed. Anytime this guy gets post up, you're pretty much in trouble. So he will add some weight. I'm sure he'll add 15 pounds. But even after those 15 pounds, you will look at him and you will say, man, this guy is skinny. But I think even though this is the case, you can get away with that. Right now, his defense relies on his length, as I was talking about earlier. But again, the post defense will have problems there. Just try to avoid that as much as possible, and you can do that. He's not a great athlete, but I have pause here. I didn't see explosive plays in terms of leaping off of his feet. I mean, I saw plenty of times where he leaped off his feet, but he didn't jump like 30, 40 inches off the ground or anything like that. But I did see a video when I was doing plenty of research where he actually jumped up and his hand went pretty much the length or the height of the backboard as the top of the backboard. So I think the athleticism is there, but I didn't see it in the game. And in terms of finishing, he's not a great finisher. And that leads me into my next point. He's not a great finisher. And that's why I think, is he a great athlete? Because if he was a great athlete, he'd just rise up those long-ass arms. He'd just bring it down no matter what. And he's also, because of his limited strength and muscle mass, he's not very strong in terms of finishing at the rim. Whenever he meets contact at the rim, he's not great at finishing. anything. He just relies on his length a little bit too much. In terms of being able to beat guys off of the dribble, not great at that. Doesn't have explosive speed. A guy that like Kyrie Irving, I mean, these are point guards, but Kyrie Irving or John Wall or even Dwayne Wade or LeBron James or Kobe Bryant or James Harden, when they're starting to dribble at you, boom, they could be gone just like that. And you're like, oh man, I got left standing. He won't do that. You'll see him, you'll meet him. Okay, he's going a little fast, but you'll stay right next to him. He didn't blow past anybody. He's not going to do that for you. But he will do this. He'll act like he's going to cross you over. He probably will act like he's going to drive and then pull up two long arms. You won't be able to stop that. That's his move at the next level. It was his move in college. It'll be his move at the next level. Also, this is indication of him being a poor finisher as well. This is a guy that had a 41% three-point percentage and only a 44% field goal percentage. Usually when you're talking about a guy with a I don't know what that was. Usually when you're talking about a guy with a 40% three-point percentage, you're going to talk about a 50% field goal percentage. But the field goal percentage wasn't high at all because he wasn't able to finish well at the rim at all. So that's something he's going to have to be able to finish to improve that, finishing at the rim consistently, being a little more creative in terms of left hand, right hand, in terms of hanging a little bit before just releasing the ball and putting in the hoop, just being a little patient, just more creative in terms of finishing at the rim. And he can be a little streaky. He had a poor January, got streaky there. Sometimes this is kind of true for pretty much all shooting guards, but, just not consistently a hot shooter. I mean, overall, he's pretty good, but he's not going to be, knocked down every night like a Steph Curry, who's, great. And, so this is a very big nitpick. So overall, let's grade him first. Actually, no, let's look at my 5-year projection. So 5-year projection, I say, and this is big. I mean, I think this guy is going to be a star, pretty much. But maybe a star is pretty hard. A star is saying a lot, I should say. To say you're a star, that's pretty big. But in terms of him going to LA, I think he will be a damn star. I project 24 points per game, and this is a big deal because Paul George didn't average 24 until this season. Kawhi Leonard, did he even average 24 this season? I'm not sure of that. Guys like Damian Lillard, they're just finally getting 24 points per game. Anthony Davis, I'm not sure, averaged 24 points a game. So this is a lot of points. I mean, this puts him squarely in the top 7 in terms of points per game in the NBA. And you're damn right. In fact, I won't be surprised if you can go even higher than this. Now, this will be limited, of course, by how much talent he has around him. So make sure you keep that in mind. Let's say he goes to the Lakers. So the Lakers have D'Angelo Russell, let's say, averaging 22. And so this will limit this number. So it may end up only being about 20. But I think it will definitely be 20. I think this is a guy that's a 20-plus point per game starter. If Paul George, if DeMar DeRozan, if these guys can average more than 20, hell, Gordon Hayward, I know damn well that Brandon Ingram can average 20-plus at the next level. He won't do it his rookie season. Remember, this is a 5-year projection. So 5 years from today, what will he be averaging? This is what I'm projecting. He's not going to average this from the get-go. He's going to have to learn how to finish at the next level mainly and just be a little, and to put on some strength. I mean, that's just the main thing. But eventually, this is who he's going to be. In fact, I won't be surprised if he averages 26, 27. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. I think there's star potential here in Brandon Ingram. I say 6 rebounds per game, which is about what he averaged in college, maybe a little more. It depends if he's a shooting guard, if he's a small forward. If he's a shooting guard, probably about 5. If he's a small forward, probably 6. 3 assists per game. This is about on point. I'd be surprised if he was up or down either way. And 47% field goal percentage, which would be pretty good. And then 39% three-point percentage. Little down from college, but I question if he's really a great three-point shooter because this is a guy that only had a free throw percentage of 68. which isn't bad. It's below average, though, for shooting guard and maybe even small forward. And this is very odd, because when you're looking at three-point shooters, guys that shoot the three-point ball very well, they always have really good free throw percentages. So I find it very odd here. So I think his three-point percentage this year was just a little high. Then he's not that good of a shooter. And I still think he's very good, but maybe not like as great as he looked, because he looked great. So I think the three-point percentage would be a little bit down, 39%, but that still puts him at a very good category. James Harden only shot 38%, or maybe even 36%. So this is still a fine category to be in. Now, let's talk about best fit. I'm only including the teams where he can go, because let's not waste our time here. So Sixers and Lakers, both of them will be good fits. I don't know why people are saying that the Sixers won't be a good fit. What are you talking about? The Sixers don't have anyone. They need anything, and he's a fit. The Lakers, they could use a defender, and he's not that yet. I mean, he relies on his length, and his length can get away with some blocks, some steals, and whatnot. But they need a damn small forward, and he fits there. I think he'll go to the Lakers. I think the Sixers take Ben Simmons. The Lakers take Brandon Ingram. And I think the Lakers have found their superstar here. I like him better than I liked Karl Anthony Towns last season. And I know what you're going to tell me. Well, you're an idiot. Karl Anthony Towns, we have to remember, we cannot use hindsight, right? I had a 92 grade on Karl Anthony Towns. This put him as a perennial all-star player, a guy that was going to be top 5, top 3 at his position. And if you would have asked me, I would have said he would be a top 10 player in the NBA. So that's a damn good job by me. And I think Brandon Ingram will be better. Only because when you look at what Karl Anthony Towns can do, I think there's only so much a center can do in today's NBA, where a shooting guard or small forward that shoots the ball so voluminously will have a slight edge. So that's why I give the nod to Brandon Ingram. I like him more as a prospect than I liked Karl Anthony Towns last season, and I give Brandon Ingram a grade of 93. Yet again, a perennial all-star guy. I mean, I'll be shocked if he's not making consistent all-stars in 3 years. In 3 years, he'll be all-star every year. I think you're talking about a guy that, if he goes to the Sixers, Lakers, whatever, a guy that you can sell jerseys on, will be a top 10 player in the NBA, possibly top 5, a great player that really, I think, is Ben Simmons, better than Ben Simmons, I should say, only because, and I'll talk about this more in my Ben Simmons, video, but I can trust him more. Ben Simmons, I can't trust yet. I don't know if the effort is there, if the clutch ability is there late in games, if I can rely on him, because he had a lot of turnovers late in games. I can trust Brandon Ingram. And when these guys go to the playoffs, and I'm sure one day they will, you're going to see Brandon Ingram hitting these clutch shots, making an impact, maybe even winning championships before Ben Simmons, I believe. But man, it is close, and man, we will see. Until next time, James Carter TV, I'm out. Peace.